This is my lesson on octaves for my patrons and on my website. And we're going to be talking all about guitar octaves and how to use them on a 6-string guitar particularly. And just remember to do me a favor and follow me now here on YouTube, wherever you're watching. And we'll get started, okay? Follow me at Ron Jackson Music. And also, if you are interested, you could be a member of my new YouTube memberships here on YouTube and also on Patreon, which is actually patreon.com/Ron Jackson Music. So I was just jamming a minute ago on the tune called There Will Never Be Another You. Now, octaves are, were really started, it's an old technique on guitar in general. Guitar's been around for hundreds of years, centuries. But Wes Montgomery actually made him really popular in the 60s when he came out. And, he was really, they thought it was, all the classical dudes and everybody thought that was really unorthodox to be able to play like that. They thought it was impossible, but obviously everybody plays it today. So I'm just going to talk to you about basic things that I have on my lesson on how to play octaves for my patrons, and my, on all my website where I sell this lesson. And, you just have to know the basics of how to play the octaves on the guitar. So it can be a little complicated because of the fingerings and also, of your fretting hand fingerings and fingers, and also how you would execute them with your picking hand or, strumming hand, which, if you're left-handed or right-handed. So, for example, first you have to know the basics of the octave. So, for example, when you're playing octave, usually you're playing them over, the easiest way is actually over 3-string sets. So like, if I hit an open E string, you hit the octave on the 2nd fret, okay? And now on the 5th string, it's the same thing. 5th string, 2nd fret, 3rd string. Now it gets different when, a little more different when you get to the 4th string. Then the 2nd string, you have to hit the 3rd fret away. And then the same thing on the 3rd string and the 1st string. So it's like this. And I show you that on, on this lesson. Now, the basic thing to do is just play them up 1 fret at a time, etc. Okay. Now that's how I mostly play my octaves. I'm going to show you a couple of different other ways you play octaves too. But for me to get around the neck, that's the fastest way to be able to play an octave. Okay, just on these sets like this. The thing is, you got to make melodies with this. So I suggest to my students that you play these as scales. So I have these written out. First, I would just take a C major scale. Now, I would say do pentatonic, like a lot of guitar players know pentatonic, but it's better to learn a scale like the C major than take the notes away to make a pentatonic. So if I'm going to play a C major scale, I'm going to have to be able to play it like this. I would start here on the 3rd position. And, you can use any fingers you want. I tell my students that fingering doesn't really matter after a while, which fingers you put down. It's just as long as you know where the notes are. Because remember, I always give my students this great example that, remember Django Reinhardt only had 2 fingers because he burnt them in a fire or something, So it doesn't matter. You just have to know where your notes are on the guitar neck and how the guitar is constructed. So if I'm going to play an octave like this, the way I showed you before, I start with the C major scale on the 5th string on the 3rd position. Now remember, position is not important as well. You just have to know where your notes are on the neck eventually. I would play the scale up like this. There's 2 different ways I could play the scale across. Okay. Okay, and then go down all the way as far as you can. I would practice every possibility. That's what I'm trying to say. Then you can practice up and down the neck like this. You have to really know your neck to do this. So I'm going up and down on the same string set. Then I would do it on the 4th string set. The 3rd string set. etc. Okay, that's how you practice your octaves with that shape. Also, I mean, that's just one way of playing it because I'm actually going, you know, up the scale. I'm not skipping any notes. I'm going from C to D. But you can go from C to E and play arpeggios, for example, or scale patterns. Now, before we keep going, though, let's talk about this real quick. I'm using my pick, okay? Now, you could actually use hybrid picking where you use your pick and your fingers, like this, etc. Okay, or you could use your thumb like Wes Montgomery did. Now, Wes, I'm not great with my thumb. I used to be really much better years ago when I used to play all the time with my thumb. But I kind of mix everything with hybrid picking now, and sometimes with my thumb. So you can use your thumb. Wes used to pick down and up because I heard his thumb had like a built-in pick, you know, a callus pick, you know. So that's why he was so good too. And you lose picks, you don't have to worry about picks anymore. But I have my cool picks because I have my name on them. I'm just kidding. But I mean, picks, I'm used to using a pick. And George Benson's great with a thumb too. I've hung out with that guy, and that guy can play thumb, pick, anything. So he's a monster basically. So so you can use those different types of techniques when you're playing this. So another way to practice this same octave is just go up in thirds. I would do the same thing. I could go across. This is much harder. Now I'm only playing up here, but you should be able to play any position. Now also up and down the neck like this. When I mean up and down, I mean going up this way on the guitar direction. To me, this is a little easier sometimes to play octaves because you're on the same string. But it might not be harder if you're not. It might be harder for you if you don't know the neck that well. Now you can do arpeggios too, like full arpeggios. C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B, etc. See, I'm going up the neck too, across. So I would do it in every position, every key. So, okay, that's this type of octave where you're actually playing between 3 strings. Okay, so that's the first set. Then the next set I show you is actually when you're playing across 4 strings, which is much harder to do. So this string sets like this, G, and then G open like this, 3rd fret of the 6th string, 3rd string open, and this one, C to C like that, or B open like this actually. So now you just pick that octave every 3 strings, every 4 strings, and move it up 1 fret. So look at the fingering now; it's much harder. You have to definitely use I use my 4th and 1st finger, but you could actually use your 3rd and 1st if you have a good stretch. 2nd and 4th finger, but that's kind of hard. So I just use my 1st and 3rd. But this is much harder to play. Look, first you have to be able to use hybrid picking mostly, or just your plain fingers, finger style. I forgot to mention you can actually play octaves like that too. Finger style if you want as well. 4 different ways. Thumb, pick, hybrid, and completely finger style. So I can go like this. Let's say like this. Now it's much harder to do this stretch because there's a lot of strings in between, so you have to mute them in between. You can use pick, see how much notes I get? Or I can go hybrid, or thumb, or finger style. That's 4 different ways to play the octave. Okay? So, and then when you get to the 5th and 2nd string, that's not easy too. So you got to do a hybrid picking or something because when you just play with a pick, it's going to be much harder. I would practice the same thing that I did with the 3-string pattern. 3 strings across pattern on these patterns though. No, so that's much harder, okay? So I prefer to play like this, you know, these across 3 strings instead of across 4, because it's much harder, just much harder to play in general. So, but you know, you should still know how to do that across string, you know, across 4 string pattern, okay, in octave. So let's skip now to what Wes used to do. He used to do double octaves, which is real pain. Like, so he basically is very limited. Okay, so he would actually play just like if you're gonna play open string E and you know, on the 6th string and the open string E on the 1st string. So you just play that and play octaves with that. So that's another type of octave. So those are 3 different types of octaves we talked about. Okay, this or this. If I'm gonna play this like this, okay, or this, double octaves. Okay, so this is actually 1 octave. Okay, we'll talk about double octaves in a minute. So this is like all across 6 strings, so you can play melodies. That's hard. That's really hard. In limiting, I can't play that through another bit now the U. See, now I don't have much range because you only have all the notes up and down the neck. Also, it's really hard to play up and down the neck like that to find your notes. So the double octaves is really specialized, okay? But now you can do double octaves, which is really hard. It's just basically like it's playing the E open, and then fret your 4th string on the 2nd fret, and that note, it's not quite tuned. Okay, now watch this. That's really hard to do and figure out your melodies with the double octaves, but that's another possibility. So if you want to take chances like that, you can do double octaves. Okay, so we talked about octaves like this, and then octaves like this across the string. So let's do it from A. Okay, and then we did that. Okay, and then double octaves. So those are 3 different kinds of octaves, 4 different kinds of octaves, excuse me about that. This one, this, and this. See how it's really hard to play those accurately. I never edit my videos, you know, so I'm playing live for you guys, so just so you know that, okay? And I like that about my videos, because a lot of people have so many edits, cut. It's like, it doesn't make sense. I'd rather talk to you real like this in person. So watch this now. Here's the thing that George Benson did that was different from everybody else. He started playing octaves with a 5th in them. So when he played songs like Breezing, here we go. He would put the 5th there. Now, he wouldn't play it this low though. He would put up an octave. So like in the song Breezing, that one. When he did that part of Breezing, he would go. He put the 5th there. So basically he's putting octave, like this, and then put the 5th there. Okay. That way. You can put 4s too. But you know, he tends to play more the fifth on top, in the middle, excuse me. They both sound good to me. Fourth or fifth, but... So, you put the fifth in. So there's 5 different ways to play the octave. So this is my overview about playing octaves, and thank you very much for watching. I'm Ron Jackson. Please follow me everywhere at Ron Jackson Music, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, whatever you can find, Twitter. Here on YouTube, of course. And make sure you subscribe and share my videos. If you want to be a member of YouTube, you can get some cool perks from there. Also, on Patreon, just join my Patreon. You get these lessons written out all the time, and for free. Or you can just go to my website and buy this lesson, which I'm going to be putting up very soon. So, this is a lesson about how to play octaves. Just the basics. Basically, you have to be able to play octaves like you're playing your lines on the guitar, your jazz guitar lines or whatever style music you play. Okay, and that's how you get to octaves. And you have to know the basics of how the octaves work on the guitar neck. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I hope to see you guys soon in person or online, wherever you are in the world. I'm Ron Jackson. Have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.